Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Space Lock, it's truly Space Lock. Good. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with excitement. Space Lock. This is like having great comprehension of space itself. Luo Feng was excited, as he was clear on just how valuable this engraved weapon was. The space laws could be split into teleportation, twist and lock. Every one of them had their own subdivisions. As long as one reached a high level in any one of them, they would be able to get the recognition of the space law. However, to reach the limit of any one of them was extremely hard. Any warrior who is able to do any of these would normally all be at pinnacle emperor level. Few high emperors could do it. As this relied on law comprehension, some high emperors may be weaker in certain aspects, but strong in their law comprehension, hence they could use it. With space lockdown combined with my Showu wings, I, Luo Feng, truly have the right to stand ahead of countless of undyings. Luo Feng was happy within. He was too excited, dreaming about different scenarios. Ah, right, shut off the device. This consumes energy constantly. It'll hit 10 seconds in a bit, shut off. Luo Feng deactivated it. The engravings that appeared throughout the 10,000 kilometers area all disappeared. I wonder how much energy it took up. Luo Feng checked to see. The armband screen displayed, energy remaining 98.9%. My God. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed, only 98.9% left. I only used it for 10 seconds and in its smallest area, and this is a flame god crystal worth 200 million points. Its usage is so fast. In just 10 short seconds, it used 1.1% of the energy within the crystal. Each one of these were worth 200 million. That meant that in 10 seconds it used 2.2 million points, while 60 seconds would use 13.2 million points. A minute of it uses 13.2 million points. 1 minute alone would use up an official's wealth. Luo Feng took a deep breath. He finally got an understanding about the fairness of the universe. Such a heavenly weapon did not require any prior training. Just equip it with an energy source, and it could use space lockdown. If the energy usage was low on top of that, it would be unbelievable. 1 minute would consume 13.2 million points. It's no wonder the ancestors of the Yang Ji people said that its usage is shocking and should only be used in a crisis. Use it sparingly. Right, unless it is absolute necessary, I cannot use it. This is a black hole that sucks up unlimited resources. Luo Feng shook his head. After acquiring the engraved weapon, he was extremely excited. However, the extreme energy consumption was like a bucket of cold water over everything. It woke him up. I cannot use it unless it's absolutely necessary. I definitely cannot use the engraved weapon, unless it's the last resort. Otherwise it would simply be a huge loss. Luo Feng muttered. Even so, he was still very happy. This space lock band far exceeded the amount of wealth from the previous 2 rings, it was true. This was an absolute trump card against the space law warriors. I have to verify the contents of the 2 rings. Just how much are the treasures in the other 2 rings worth? The 2 world rings along with some treasure from Gold Kang and the others, Luo Feng had to calculate them on a whole. However, as the numbers and variety were too huge, he and Barbata worked hard, but were still unable to find an accurate price. Via the virtual universe network, via some friends in the Hong Alliance, via the shops in the Hong Alliance city, and via his status as the disciple of the Primal Chaos city leader, and other pathways. It took a total of 7 days for him to finally get an estimate for all the goods. The first ring, even though its most valuable items are only suitable for sector lords, the amount is huge. The countless items can form a continent. In total, it's worth about 221 billion mixed elements. The second ring holds items for undyings. Even though the number of items are much lesser, however in all, it's worth about 285 billion mixed elements. The third ring only has that one engraved weapon. These are extremely rare in humanity itself, they are almost non-existent. There's no accurate price for it. This weapon, it cannot be priced with money, and it can only be exchanged with other valuable items. Its price far exceeds the 2 other rings before. The goods I got from Gold Kang and the others are worth about 53 billion. In total. There is a complete engraved weapon, and the items are worth 560 billion mixed elements. Within his study in Yuseong Mountain, the palm-sized Barbata sat and looked at the screen with Luo Feng. They were both stunned by the final tally of numbers. Both of them exchanged glances. Luo Feng, you've really struck it big. Barbata blinked. Ha ha. Luo Feng smiled. Indeed. The amount he got from the tower felt like it gave him a whole new life. Ever since becoming the disciple of the primal chaos city leader, he had interacted with his other seniors. Most interaction was with Gold Axe Knight, and some other knights like Evil Gun Knight. It opened his perspectives. He had also checked before and knew how shocking these absolute warriors' wealth was. Normal undyings usually had about 10,000 mixed elements. Officials usually had about 10 million. Emperors usually had about 10 billion. This was the standard for high and pinnacle emperors, and emperor limits would normally have between tens of billions to hundreds of billions. Warriors like Tru Yang, who are invincible amongst emperors and akin to a normal knight, had wealth of hundreds of billions or even more. Of course, these were only estimates. In truth, they would spend most of their wealth on ships, plant life forms, weapons, treasures, etc. They normally kept very little. And for Tru Yang to so easily exchange the beast god 7 forms for Luo Feng, to have so much liquid cash around, that was shocking. Even with his earnings this time from the tower, Luo Feng wouldn't be able to produce so much cash. And as one got stronger, especially advancing towards the knight's level, the treasures they needed were extremely rare and few, many couldn't be purchased with money. They could only barter. Like this engraved weapon, it couldn't be bought anywhere. The wealth of the warriors were mostly fixed assets. Luo Feng's assets were huge: the Shogu wings, beast god armament, engraved weapon, inheritance crystal. These were all fixed assets and they weren't worth selling, because he could get cash for them. But, cash may not necessarily get some treasures. Luo Feng may need a certain treasure in the future. But that treasure may not be bought. He could then publicly announce, I will use this engraved weapon with the space lockdown ability to exchange for a certain treasure. This would have a much higher chance of succeeding. Warriors wanting to get the weapon for their students, and so on, would then be willing to barter with him. I'll keep the most valuable treasures. Those that are useless to me or common in the universe, it's best to sell them as soon as possible. Luo Feng thought. The best items were those that fit him. Other emperor treasures may not necessarily fit him. Once everything has been decided, Luo Feng began to secretly deal with the large amount of goods, like the sea of items in the first ring. The Hong Alliance city did business mostly with emperors. Hence, there was no way to sell these normal goods to them. And with such numbers, the shops couldn't deal with so much either. He could only sell it to the virtual universe company. Luckily, the buying department of the company showed him respect as the disciple of the city leader. They didn't dare push the price down too low. Sold. The useless and common items have all been changed to cash. Luo Feng was very busy but happy. Just as he was selling treasures through his various connections, there was a day he suddenly received a mail from a good friend in Hong Alliance City. The details were simple. Yang, I heard you received treasure from a sacrificial tower in Yangji main continent. What? Luo Feng was shocked from the mail. The human Yang was his alias. After all, the news of Luo Feng being the disciple of the city leader had long spread about. The warriors in the universe had all been searching for this Luo Feng. He naturally didn't dare reveal his identity. The identity of Yang was low profile, just like a normal emperor. However, now that this identity was involved in the treasure of a sacrificial tower, it would make this low-profile character gain the attention of many greedy people who were eyeing the treasures. If someone like Gold Kang had gotten the treasure instead, the other emperors would not dare go mess with him. But Yang, that newbie, True treasures could only be held by absolute warriors. It would be strange if no one planned to steal from him. Mo Na Emperor, where are you? Luo Feng immediately contacted him. After a while, within a restaurant in Hong Alliance City, Luo Feng chatted with a fox-tailed handsome Mo Na Emperor. Mo Na, where did you get that information? Luo Feng was anxious. Which bastard spread it? Isn't this sabotage? I was shocked when I heard it too. If it was false, this bastard must be completely evil. Mo Na shook his head and smiled. However, the news that had spread seems too real, and it even sent out accurate coordinates in the universe. They are, and there is indeed a tower there. The news checks out. Yang, you did get a treasure from the tower there. And many warriors have actually gone to check out the coordinates and tower there. It has spread throughout Yangji continent. Even some emperors at Star Tower and other places have heard of it. Luo Feng's expression was ugly. Coordinates. Purple Clock Emperor. He raged within. One had to know that when Mo Na Emperor sent over the mail, Luo Feng had already suspected it was connected to Purple Clock Emperor. Now that he knew about the news of the tower being public, he could almost confirm it was him. This conclusion was also based on Purple Clock's insane character. Purple Clock, I haven't begun to search for you and you've already started looking for trouble. Luo Feng cursed within. Looks like you really want to kill me. You've got guts. You've really got guts. You aren't afraid that I'd share the news of your ancient clock. Actually, when they left the tower, Purple Clock had thought hard and understood one thing. If the human had no way to deal with him, he wouldn't let it rest. It was very likely the human would spread the news of his ancient clock, and since the human would fan the flames of his treasures, it was better to force him out early. Killing him was the right thing to do. If the human wanted to kill him and get the ancient clock, he naturally would spread the news of it. Even so, it meant that the threat of that human was even bigger. This was to the point that he had the ambition to take his treasure. He should be destroyed even earlier. Hence, Purple Clock had to make the first move. Vicious. Vicious. I wanted to wait till I got a bit stronger before dealing with you. Since you've already issued the challenge, then let's do it. Luo Feng was filled with killing intent. A kind person gets bullied. They all think that my persona Yang is easy to bully. I'll have to search for a chance to completely massacre him. Battling over and over to deal with the greedy warriors was a very stupid thing. The best day to deal with this was to make it a true bloodbath, by showing his strength and scaring off the others. It would make them all know just how powerful and dangerous Yang was. Naturally, they wouldn't dare pick a fight with him without a grudge. They wouldn't unnecessarily come try their luck. After all, there were a whole bunch of emperor limits with large amounts of wealth in the universe. As long as they were strong enough, no one would bother them. Mo Na looked at Luo Feng, said softly, Yang, are you okay? No problem, I was just thinking of the trouble this is going to cause. Luo Feng smiled coldly. Looks like it's one of those with a grudge against me. Don't be afraid to call me for help, we human warriors aren't that easy to mess with. Mo Na spoke. If you get friends from the Human Alliance, we'll just fight it out. Luo Feng nodded. Mo Na Emperor, thanks for informing me. Otherwise, I would still have been oblivious. Luo Feng said. It's not your fault. This news was spread amongst the other races and later to the human camp. I came immediately the moment I heard. Mo Na said. Luo Feng nodded. This is troublesome, I'll leave first to ponder on how to deal with it. Go on. Mo Na told him. Be careful, the outer region war has a great mix of other races. You have to be vicious with the greedy ones and make them fear you. If you are soft on them, more of them will come. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Looks like it was time to massacre Yangji main continent. The news is real. There have been some emperors that have broken into the tower and searched it. 2 automatons sat facing each other. The taller one emphasized, they discovered a G-grade treasure room and a destroyed room, but the treasures were already taken. G-grade metal room. The smaller automaton was shocked, Looks like there truly was a treasure. Many other race warriors in the main continent have already checked up on Yang through many routes. However, no one has found him. The taller one said hoarsely. The moment anyone discovers him, it would be a big fight, and many other races would jump in. Pa ci. The shorter one smiled, will you join them? Ha ha, this human is weak. He's probably a punk that just became an emperor. What right does he have to hold such treasure? I will definitely go. The taller automaton said. The both of us should cooperate, we'll also split the treasure in half. Okay. The two automatons formed their alliance. In Yangji main continent, the emperors were usually very free, since emperor fights hardly ever reached a fatal stage. Now that the news of the treasure of the tower had spread, a fire had erupted within the entire continent. Even the warriors in Star Tower and other places rushed over. A storm was brewing in Yangji continent. Even the officials around had been ordered to scan and constantly search for the human Yang. The weird thing was, they couldn't find him. Cowardly human. Despicable human. He must have been scared off, leaving the outer region wars. Many warriors on the main continent cursed. The most worried and anxious one was still Purple Clock Emperor. Within a dark ice mountain, he sat cross-legged on a frozen rock, his eyes gleaming coldly, while muttering, the entire continent has been searched over and over, where did he go? We can't find him. HMPH. I've already forced his hand and yet he still hasn't even revealed the secret of my ancient clock. Looks like this human Yang has huge ambitions. He's obviously guessed that I let out the news. Theoretically, he should have done the same about me. Yet he hasn't spoken. Looks like he's waiting for the chance to kill me and take my treasure. He must have some guarantee. Human. Purple Clock was actually quite fearful of Luo Feng. Because back in the tower, Luo Feng had survived with his terrifying speed and defense. And he was able to hide his life energy, almost completely, until he was sucked into the world ring. All these things showed that Luo Feng had some terrifying moves. Would Purple Clock underestimate such an opponent? I have close to 100 billion indigo gems this time. He thought. I better prepare well. This human has completely hidden himself, and the moment he shows himself it would be crazy. Whether it was Luo Feng or Purple Clock. They were both very clear on the fact that after they left the tower, they would be sworn enemies. When Purple Clock revealed the news about the tower, the two of them were set to fight to the death. Within the 26th camp, Luo Feng lay within his pool. The mountain peak had white snow all over, the pool however was warm. Mist filled up the area, and Luo Feng lay there casually. Right, while the entire Yangji continent was searching for him, he was within the camp. Actually, the moment he got that large amount of treasure, he swiftly headed towards the camp, because he had deals to sell stuff with the Virtual Universe Company and others. He naturally had to come back to the base. Looking for me? How will they find me when I'm in the base? Luo Feng lay relaxed within the pool. Suddenly, 3 silhouettes flew over. The Virtual Universe Company people have come. A silver armor appeared on his body and his wings unfolded. He flew out of the water and onto the peak. How do you do? I'm from the Virtual Universe Company. The leader of the group was a handsome 3-eyed man with a golden robe. He was here on orders of the boss. The boss didn't even reveal the status of the client, only telling him to not ask random questions. This made the Emperor level 3-eyed man know that the client was linked to the highest of levels. His boss was a knight and was one of the upper echelons, yet even he acted like that. I know. Luo Feng nodded, tossing out a world ring. The 3-eyed man received it and scanned with his undying energy. Simultaneously the ring recognized him as the owner as he tossed a scanner in. Both human and machine scanning simultaneously, he even said, as this involves a huge amount of treasure, this may take a while. No rush. Luo Feng stood there. About 3 minutes later. The scanner had finished and the Emperor had finished as well. The goods are complete. The 3-eyed man smiled at Luo Feng. The money has already been transferred. We shall not disturb you further. He was clear on how shocking the amount of wealth was involved in this deal. It exceeded over 200 billion mixed elements. This silver-winged and armored warrior definitely wasn't ordinary. The deal with the company was the fastest. The other routes were much more troublesome. Some were sold to people, while some were sold to shops, and some to other race warriors. As the deals were huge, many other race warriors had to come to the 26th camp personally to check the goods. The entire process took close to 1 month before it was completed. Ha! Luo Feng stretched and lay in the pool, smiling. It's finally over. My wealth is now about 560 billion mixed elements. Such a huge sum. It may be a small amount to the knights, but to the emperors, it's extremely wealthy. I have to think of how to use this. Do I use it on deities of the world, etc., or to strengthen myself? Or do I use it on the 1000 vine star-eating plant and other plant life forms? Or do I buy automaton weapons? After I buy them, even if I don't use them, I can sell them later. Or should I order strengthening treasures for myself and the plant life forms? However, I cannot sell them back for money. He lay in the pool and considered his options. 560 billion mixed elements, leaving it in the bank was a stupid thing to do. It was best to strengthen himself in various ways. Spending 560 billion was easy, but spending it wisely was not so easy. Luo Feng had many dreams while laying in the pool. As there was simply too many treasures in the universe, even though he knew many of them, there were still countless others he didn't know about. I have several trump cards now. The Golden Horned Beast, the Bug Clan, the Flame God Crystals, Space Lock Band. He pondered, I should strengthen the strongest asset. Bug Army. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, standing quickly. If I can make Queen Alina become an undying, as an undying queen, she can lead an undying army, and that's considered invincible amongst anyone below knight level. If that succeeds, spending all of the 560 billion would still be worth it. The more he thought about it, the more he got excited. The queen could separately control 10,000 bug soldiers, who were all able to use law-infused attacks. She may be able to use 1,000,000 soldiers too, but they wouldn't be law-infused attacks and only directed attacks instead. Back then, when the queen had controlled 10,000 undyings, its power was already heavenly. If she controlled 1,000,000, she would be invincible. The more he thought about it, the more his eyes gleamed. He couldn't help it anymore. I'll go ask Alina. In his internal world, Bug Clan Island. Black-clothed Luo Feng appeared within the world and floated above the Bug Clan Island. Xiao. The absolute beauty Alina flew straight up and bowed before him, Master. Alina. Luo Feng asked immediately, how much you would need to break through to undying. Master, you. She looked shocked. Just speak. Luo Feng said, he felt wealthy. Alina smiled, her voice clear and crisp. Master seems to have a shocking amount of wealth. However, Master, a bug queen breaking through to undying is an extremely hard thing to do. Just the materials alone would cost close to 100 billion mixed elements. I'll buy it. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Let me finish. Alina said. This is only the external requirements, there are still internal ones. The queen would have to have extremely high levels of law comprehension, be it space or time laws. Just having gold, or wood and the other basic laws isn't enough to become undying. She needs great comprehension in either space or time too. Luo Feng frowned. Master. Alina explained, the true intellectual beings of the universe all require great law comprehension to become undying. Just the materials alone is not enough. Like humans, no matter what, they at least have to have one of the smaller laws to become undying. If they don't even have that, having treasures is useless. And a Bug Clan queen is the same, as one of the pinnacle races, it's extremely hard to break through. Both the materials required and the law comprehension required are extremely high. The cloud contact vine you use is different. The plants have low intellect, hence they have no requirements for law comprehension and can just evolve. And the universe would naturally give them a law suited for them after evolution. However, such things can only happen for the low intellectual creatures, such as plant life forms, bug soldiers, and so on. The other life forms all require law comprehension. She said. I've only comprehended the fire law, and I'm still far from comprehending the space laws. No amount of treasures can make me break through. Luo Feng was somewhat disappointed, but he understood. Right, those bug soldiers that could be produced in bulk were purely almost mindless creatures. The cloud contact vine and star-eating plant only had their basic emotions too. When they became undying, only then could they truly communicate via consciousness. The other intellectual begins, humans, automatons, demons, bug clan queens, Goldhorn race, Yangji aboriginals and so on. The hardest part about becoming undying for all of them is the law comprehension. Luo Feng sighed. He had initially simplified it too much. He thought that the queen could simply evolve with resources, since the soldiers definitely did so. But the queen was a true intellectual being, and the requirements for her law comprehension were very high, but hers were far from ready. My law comprehension is still insufficient, you don't have to prepare resources for me. She smiled, however, when I'm almost there, I will rely on you. No problem. Luo Feng replied easily, he still felt disappointed within. He had gone in full of hope only to have his dreams shattered. Asterisk. Right, the undying bug queen is invincible below night level. How could it be so easy to break through? Luo Feng immediately sent a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe. Virtual universe, Luo Feng's villa in Yuseong Primal Region. Luo Feng sat at his desk and looked at the screen, searching information on all sorts of treasures. Black hole weapon, able to form a small black hole at point of target. Only knights and above can survive. Soul laser, triggering a light beam from within a universe secret region. The moment it is triggered, a normal knight would be injured too, anything under would definitely die. Wind slicer weapon, it's a special wind formed in a secret region, and even a knight hit by it would have his undying body slashed apart. This weapon is formed from the wind slicer itself, anything under knight won't be able to survive. Ka Suo weapon, a special metal named after the founder, this metal has strong destructive abilities against undyings. A dagger made from this metal can instantly kill an emperor limit, destroying his undying body completely. There were many weapons. These were all weapons that could be ordered, and many that humans themselves created. Luo Feng searched with the key words, anything under night will not survive, easily flipping through 203 weapons, he stared wide-eyed. My God! All of them can kill anything under night. Why do undyings seem so fragile? Also, some weapons have primal powers, they can even heavily damage knights. Luo Feng was stunned. There were 21 automaton weapons within, and 3 human weapons. The rest were special weapons formed from special materials. However, it's no wonder I haven't seen anyone use any of these in the outer region wars. Who could use such weapons? The moment one uses something like that, countless emperors would target him to take his treasure. Luo Feng looked at the list and thought, the cheapest one here was 6 trillion. The normal ones were 10 trillion, these prices were enough to make even a knight feel the pinch. Anyone with one of these weapons was holding a true piece of treasure. How much was the sacrificial tower treasure worth? A weapon costing over 10 trillion mixed elements, if revealed, would make countless undyings go crazy for it. I can only look. I cannot buy them. He suddenly felt very poor, not even having enough for a part of one weapon. He actually knew that for weapons like the black hole device, it seemed very complex, just from the surface, and the requirements for building it must be extremely high. The soul-destroying laser, the wind slicer, to retrieve materials such as the slicing wind etc., and storing them well for frequent usage, there were places that even knights could fall within, the prices would naturally be absurd. Since the queen couldn't evolve to undying, and he couldn't afford these weapons, he could only think of other methods. Hence, he began to study and research the many items within the treasure trove that he couldn't see with his status. He also relied on his 560 billion wealth to enter the shops in the Hong Alliance city and view the VIP areas. These were areas frequented by knights. I only found 3 materials for deities of the world level 3 in the treasure trove, but the shops in the Hong Alliance city actually have 18 of them. It's almost all here. However, they are really expensive. It's extremely hard to reach far in deities of the world. With his status and research, he spent over a month's time before finally deciding on what to buy. He knew that this windfall may take forever to happen again. Spending about 110 billion mixed elements to allow the golden horned beast to train its deities of the world to 16 times amplification. He only spent 10.2 billion to finish the second level initially. Spending 130 billion to buy 4 flame god crystals, each one cost close to 30 billion, and large amounts of water god crystals for the space lock armband, close to 10 billion mixed elements. The water god crystals were most suitable for the armband. Spending 300 billion to buy 1 kilogram of Fei Mo liquid poison. Spending 8 billion to make the cloud contact vine evolve from pinnacle official to low emperor. And some other little expenses were taken care of. However, he had almost spent all of the 560 billion from this windfall. Battlefield 7, 26th Camp. Above the snow-capped peaks, a silver-armored and winged Luo Feng stood. He was discussing with the staff from the Virtual Universe Company. This scene was seen by 2 distant emperors. Look, the human Yang. It's him. All the other race warriors from the other camps in Yangji continent have all gone crazy searching for him. No one would expect him to be hiding here in the camp. The other race warriors would never be able to find him. Even if they knew he was here, they couldn't do anything. Do you think that Yang actually got the treasure from the sacrificial tower? I've been to the tower personally to check, and there were battle scars about. It should be true. This Yang sure is lucky. Look, he's discussing with the staff from the Virtual Universe Company. He must have bought countless treasures. What's the point of being jealous? He got the treasure. What can you do about it? Right. I cannot do anything. Who would dare make a move on an ally? However, I dare say, if it weren't for the army system, there would probably be other humans making a move on him. The 2 other race emperors gazed at the mountain peak hundreds of kilometers away. With their vision, they could see every hair on Luo Feng's face even at such distance. They watched as they discussed. The news of Yang being in the 26th camp spread quickly, causing the many other race warriors on Yangji continent to curse. Coward. Weakling. Cowardly punk. This human is actually hiding in the camp, bastard. Let's go, leave Yangji continent. This human is so scared he's hiding in the camp. What can we do? Even knights cannot do anything. We are just wasting our time. Let's hurry back to Star Tower. There may be other treasures there. The many warriors began to grow disappointed. They had guessed before that the human Yang may leave after getting the treasure. However, they never got accurate information, and didn't trust one another. After all, the chances of getting treasure in the outer region wars were extremely slim. Human. Purple clock raged within a cave. Prudent and yet cowardly. However, you hiding in the camp will make the others see you as even weaker, and it confirms that you have the treasures. However, I do know. Your cowardice is all an act. Purple clock had been extremely alert about Luo Feng. He had battled with him before, and throughout the treasure hunt in the tower, Luo Feng had remained low profile. Yet he never backed down in face of danger, knowing when not to hold back, knowing the right time to act, and vicious at the right moment. Human Yang, what are you waiting for? He muttered, waiting for the right chance to deal with me. If you want to make a move, hurry and do it. He had a feeling that the human Yang was simply waiting for the opportune moment. The 2 would eventually fight. Within a specially crafted world ring. Vast grassland. Black-clothed Luo Feng sat cross-legged, his expression serious as he looked at the black briefcase. Fei Mo poison. He muttered. Within this case was the terrifying and expensive Fei Mo poison. He only had 10 billion left from the 560 billion. He had almost spent everything, and of which, the most expensive thing he bought with 300 billion mixed elements was this 1 kilogram of poison. Careful. Any leakage, and my Mosha body will be destroyed. Luo Feng took a deep breath. He didn't even dare deal with it in his internal world. He was worried that any leak would cause the world to crumble. That would be an unjust death. The Mosha body was within the world ring. His body could be produced again even if it fell, and this was a new world ring. Even if it crumbled, it meant nothing. Open. Luo Feng gently opened it. The black briefcase opened and revealed 10 crystals, every one of them brimming with terrifying purple liquid, flowing about. Fei Mo poison, 10 vials, and every one with 100 drops of Fei Mo poison. His eyes gleamed. Fe Mo poison, just one drop was worth 300 million mixed elements. A powerful chemist from humanity, Fei Mo, had created this, hence the name. It was a powerful corrosive agent, specially used to corrode undying bodies. Normally 10 drops was enough to kill an emperor limit. As for 100 drops or 1 vial, was able to kill an invincible emperor like Tru Yang. Its power was terrifying. But its weakness was obvious. Firstly, it was a one-time use item and diminished easily. Secondly, it only works after making contact with the undying body. Most warriors all wear armors and the poison has no effect on armors. Hence, one has to tear through the armor and let it touch the enemy's skin. Or attacking a place that wasn't protected like the face. Also, it was a liquid that had to be carried by an agent, like rubbing it on a weapon and attacking after letting it dry. When the weapon slashes through the enemy, only a small portion of it may actually enter the body, dealing too little damage. Lastly, if 100 drops entered Tru Yang the first time around, with his strength, he would discover the poison destroying his body. He would instantly give up fighting and would start to focus on his undying energy to push the rest of the poison out. By then, only 1 or 2 drops would have probably succeeded while the others would be wasted. Hence, each attack usually did best with a little of the poison, acting before the enemy can drive it out. Although it had its weaknesses, it was not as pricey as other heavenly weapons. Like the Ka Suo dagger, it could be used over and over, piercing into an emperor limit would instantly kill him. Whether it was longevity or effectiveness, it far exceeded the Fei Mo poison. However, its price was absurd too. Luo Feng brandished a blood shadow blade. This was a newly ordered blade, using expensive G-grade metals, which were on par with the treasure room of the sacrificial tower. The Fei Mo poison was very weak on metals, and it had no way to corrode this new metal blade. Of course, this blade cost close to 100 million points. I've simulated it in the virtual universe over 1,000 times, nothing should go wrong. Luo Feng carefully coated the blade with the poison. The blade was fairly small in size, and it could at most have 50 drops of the poison on its surface. After a while, Luo Feng gripped his new blade and looked at it glow with purple light, smiling. From today on, this blade shall be called Poison Shadow Blade. A blood shadow blade and a poison shadow blade. I'll use the blood shadow blade most of the time, and only use the poison shadow blade in critical moments. I have to be patient. The golden horned beast has to train deities of the world and the cloud contact vine has to evolve. I have to wait. His eyes gleamed. Purple Clock Emperor, it'll be soon. 1 year later, in his internal world. Howl. The beast raised its head and let out an excited howl. It had finally depleted the large amount of resources that cost 110 billion, amplifying deities of the world to 16 times. Everything is going according to plan. Luo Feng stood on the grass. His eyes were filled with anticipation. Cloud Contact Vine. A beam of light flew over. It was the 256 vines Cloud Contact Vine. Luo Feng had used 8 billion points to evolve it from 216 vines to 256, and its power rose from Pinnacle Official to Low Emperor. If he wanted to raise it more to 360 vines, High Emperor, that would require over 100 billion points, with a success rate of less than 50%. If nurtured from young to have 360 vines, only about 10 billion points would have been required. It was obvious that upgrading a weak plant later on would cost tens to hundreds of times more than simply nurturing a strong one. The vine flew over like an octopus, instantly wrapping about Luo Feng and melding with his skin. Master! It communicated excitedly. Ha! Luo Feng smiled. This plant had been with him for so long, risking life and death with him. What was a few points? He would rather spend more points on this one than nurture a new one. The only thing was that he wasn't wealthy enough right now. Plus, with threats mounting, he hadn't reached the level of being able to spend over 100 billion mixed elements to gamble on something with less than 50% success rate. Space Lock Band. Luo Feng placed a water god crystal into its energy chamber. Silver armor. A silver armor appeared, protecting the cloud contact armor and the arm band. Showu wings. Silver wings opened on his back. It covered the original sector Lord energy, and powerful energy emanated about. The silver-winged and armored Luo Feng smiled, his eyes gleaming. Barbata. He ordered, send a mail immediately to all the emperor friends I know on Yangji main continent. Get their help to search for the automaton camp, Chi-Chang race Purple Clock Emperor. Yes. Barbata immediately sent bulk mails to get help. I wonder if they can find him. Barbata said. He was probably afraid of dealing with you when he spread that news earlier. He might have hidden himself. If I can't find him, I'll put a bounty of him. Luo Feng said softly. Just like how the automaton Ci Wei Ka had placed a bounty on Luo Feng back then, spending up to 10 million as a reward, it would make the warriors of the human camp search for Purple Clock madly. Part 1 end here.